Hi there, and welcome back. So let's now move on to bringing in all of our assets that we want to bring in and position them within our environment. So to start, let's take our work table here and let's move it to a different location. Let's go 4.2, 0.6, and negative 0.025. And if it's in this orientation, let's rotate it by 90 degrees. And we don't need to scale it in this case. Next, let's start bringing in the other things that we need for creating our simulations for a science flames test. This is a chemistry experience that you're able to go through and where you bring in different materials, burn them, and based on the material that you are burning, it will go through a different color. So, in order to do this, let's bring in a Bunsen burner. Okay, so I'm able to click, drag, and place my Bunsen burner on my table and rotate it into position. And let's just put in exact values here of 4, 1.3, and negative 0.7. Based on this orientation, I actually want it to rotate the exact opposite way, so let's just rotate 180 degrees, putting it at 270. And now we've got this in our space. Then let's bring in the 4 flames we're going to need for this. So I'm going to bring in this default flame, this red flame, purple flame, and let's go with yellow-green flame. Let's actually move these into their position of 4, 1.5, and negative 0.5. Okay. Yep. Okay, we're going to initially have all of these in the exact same position. And with this, we have all of these in our initial position at the end of the Bunsen burner. Kind of looks pretty neat with all of them there flashing in neon like that. Alright, next, we're going to want to bring in the chemistry spatula. So if we type it in here, we can now bring it in and just drop it on our table. If we want, we can give it an exact location as well. 4, 1.1, negative 0.2. Okay. Next, we're going to bring in a white cylinder. This is going to serve as a representative of the sample we're gathering. But as you can see here, this is very large. In order to use it for our purposes, we're going to adjust the scale here. In my case, I would make it so the scale for all of these is 0.01. Okay. You can see here, this will fit in my spoon much better. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to snap this to our spatula here so that it is as part of it and is going to move with the spatula when the spatula is grabbed and is going to be visible when we are gathering our samples. As a reminder, the method of attaching these together is using our snapped to property here. So, in order to attach these two together, we're going to hit this drop down, find our chemistry spatula, and select the location of scoop here. If you click this move to hitbox, you can see that it will then move to that position. We want this to be rotated by default by 90 degrees in the Z so that it sits on our spoon like that. So we do a rotation offset of 90 so that it will match it when we put it into this hitbox when going through the experience. Okay, if we want, we can also adjust the size a little bit to better fit the area of our spoon. But you're free to spend as much time getting that correct as you like, but this will serve our purposes nicely at this size. Next, we're going to want to bring in 4 beakers. So I'm going to just quickly bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 beakers. I'm going to want to bring in 1 sample of clear liquid, and we're going to bring in some white powder as well to serve as the materials that we are testing. We're going to bring in 3 of those. Okay. Now, in order to move these into position, you would select, or first, actually, let's move our beakers into what will be their final positions. So this will be 4. Whatever location we choose, I'm going to start with 0.6. And I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to have all of these be just a little bit away from each other of a value of like a difference of 0.2 in the z. So they're all going to be evenly spaced out. So this is at 0.6, this will be at 0.4, this will be at 0.2, etc. This one will be at 0. Okay, and with this I have all of these in place. And next, I would just want to put these samples into their locations. So select that, click sample, and then move to the hitbox. Okay. Now quickly looking at this, it sits in a little bit low, so I want to use a position offset of wherever it's at when I move it in to move it up 0.05 here. So I would just go in 0.05, and now when it's put into the sample at runtime, it'll move directly there. Let's move this into its location as well. Just make sure that you are selecting different beakers for each one for these materials. Okay, and that one does not need to be adjusted. So I've used 2, and now I'm going to use 3. I'm going to move it in, and this one will be moved into 4. All right. With that, we've got all of these in their positions. Next, we're going to bring in some safety glasses and a medical glove box. Going to grab these blue safety glasses, set them on my table, and rotate them. And a glove box. Or I could put in individual gloves as well. You know what? Let's put in the work gloves. Okay, brought them in, and I need to rotate them in 90 degrees. Yep. So that they rest nicely on the table. Okay, I'm going to adjust them on the table so that they sit like so. All right. Next, if you want to, you can add a virtual person to our environment. You are able to choose from any of these. In this case, I'm going to bring in Dr. Arnold Light. So simply, the same way you bring in any virtual object, you just click on his portrait, drag him in, and you can orient him to look at or be positioned wherever you'd like. Okay, and with this, I've now added this Dr. Arnold character here. And let's just move him so he's in line with everything else. All right. So this is how I would bring in all of my assets and objects, as you can see laid out here. There are some other properties we would like to adjust before we begin our experience. Primarily, we need to make it so that our flames are not visible at the start, and that we hide our sample so that it is only present after we've actually gathered something onto it. So, to take care of those, we're going to go through our flames and select this is visible property and deselect it for each of the flames. Okay, so with this, none of the flames will be visible at the start. Next, for our white cylinder, we're going to want that to start being not visible as well. This, combined with the snapping of our objects together into their positions, will make it so that we have placed everything into the environment ready for us to go. If you want, you can decorate your environment, or the wall over here, by putting in some posters. These function the same as dropping in any other object. We're able to click, drag it in, and then rotate it. And having it placed on your wall. As long as it is static, it will remain in the position there and will not fall. Okay. So you're able to bring in other objects to make this a more populated space if you would like. But as far as the critical ones for the interactions, these are the ones that we need. And let's just adjust our spawn position to match this location. Alright. So with that, you would then want to go to the upper right hand corner and click Save to save your process that you have done so far. If you want to make your simulation public or able to be experienced via web, make sure that this check mark is selected and click Save. Once it is done, you are able to then immediately launch into your experience if you would like to see your assets that you've laid out and experience it through there. As we have not added any interactions or anything else with our experience, all we would do is being able to walk around and see what our adjustments have done. So if you like, you can hit play and do so. Otherwise, join me in my next video where we will begin adding these behaviors and state actions by going through the Scenario Flow tab and going through what is necessary for there in populating your space so that your virtual objects become interactable 3D assets. Thank you.